Now, Silver Chariot. This guy is my boy. My man. Wielded by the character most considered the main character. Silver Chariot finally joins the rest of the Crusaders in this series. As always, I will cover the manga, anime, OVA and light novels, showing off its capabilities and feats. Though, due to the length of the video, I will not cover Requiem, and instead I will only go into detail for the base form. I am Denade, and I hope you will enjoy this quick look at Silver Chariot. Diving into its origins, we have its tarot card, which is of course the Chariot. Finally, the card probably describes Polnareff, as it states presumption, vengeance, triumph, trouble, success, determination, willpower, control, discipline, focus. And reversed, it's riot, dispute, defeat, forceful, no direction, no control, powerless, aggression, and obstacles. Quite a few words, and I even left some like war out. Like, looking at this, we can make out things Polnareff went through in his adventure. He presumes things over and over, not caring or rather not properly considering what his friends tell him, rather believing that they try to oppose him and his view. His entire character arc at the start of part 3 is vengeance for his sister's death at the hands of J. Guile. So yeah, I think I don't have to explain this one any further. Triumph can be summarized under the guise of Polnareff succeeding at the end of the day. But hidden behind this is of course obstacles, as such are plentiful through any and all of his encounters. He seemingly had it the worst across the journey. But let's be honest, these words can be used with nearly all characters in JoJo. Determination absolutely fits into his character. What else was Polnareff other than determined? Whether or not this was a good or bad thing is up to anyone's guess, but even though his fighting spirit weakened over the years, his determination to do the right thing and advance has never truly faltered. Polnareff didn't just have great control over Silver Chariot. No, he also learned to do the right things, even if they surely were unbearably tough decisions for him. Before achieving triumph and success, Polnareff usually feels defeat at some point in fights. As the most, so yeah. However, Polnareff especially early on often lacked direction and control, even feeling powerless at times, like when Afdal died. And aggression? Well, see for yourself. Oh boy, this was quite long, but shows how deep Araki really went, doesn't it? Anyhow, some other origins of Chariot's design are its mask, resembling that of Jagi from Fist of the North Star. Wouldn't be the first time something looked really similar, eh, Araki? The sword wielded by Chariot also resembles the rapier called Epee? Epee? I've only had 4 years of French in school, alright? Give me a goddamn break. So, since we are already discussing its appearance, let's just continue with this. Silver Chariot is an artificial humanoid wearing medieval armor and is stated armed with a sword. Although Silver Chariot's actual body is thin, it wields this heavy plate armor that is spiked at the shoulder and elbow pads. Chariot wears a fitting helmet with a jewel embedded in the forehead, and several pointed down projections protecting the mouth and cheeks. Chariot's sword can be unequipped for tasks that require 2 hands. According to Araki, its design is a combination of a robot with European armor, made to contrast Star Platinum. After facing off against Diavolo in the late 90s, Silver Chariot loses its legs and right forearm, in accordance with the damage dealt to Polnareff. They are replaced with metal spike appendages. Silver Chariot obviously almost always gets portrayed in silver with yellow-brownish eyes. However, the anime changed it to blue, while the OVA changed its armor color to semi-golden. And next up is everyone's favorite topic. Stand sets. Oh boy. Okay, let's speedrun this. Power is a C because Chariot itself isn't that strong, but the thrusts and slashes of its rapier still do considerable damage to the environment. The speed is A because, god damn it, it's one of the two things it's known for. Chariot is already incredibly fast, but without its armor, its speed may even exceed that of Sir Platinum and other close-range stands. Its range is C, which allows it to only be effectively used around the user. But as seen in the fight against Afdol, it still packs a decent range, especially for its type. Its persistence is a B, because Chariot has powerful armor that can block most damage. It doesn't have any special abilities outside of that anyway. Its precision is a B, which is surprising considering how many absolutely incredible feats of precision we have for it, but I guess it's not necessarily as surgically precise as the Platinum. And lastly, the potential is a C, due to Chariot, both for having been trained for all of Polnareff's life, and thus achieving most of its capabilities, but also because he has an extremely simple stand, even for Stardust Crusaders standards. However, we do know that Chariot had a bit more potential than other stands, as it was capable of becoming Requiem. Chariot is simple, not meant for anything cinematic, and that's completely fine. Heading into the abilities, there isn't much to discuss here, is it? Silver Chariot is a close range stand that does what is shown. Wear armor and poke enemies to death with a rapier. That's it. But let's dive into their abilities anyhow. That's what you're here for anyway. Silver Chariot, unlike even stands such as Sir Platinum, is almost solely focused on battle. What this means is that Polnareff is unable to effectively use it in any other situation that doesn't require him to slash things apart. Funnily enough, despite his combat prowess, Polnareff is incapable of seeing with Chariot. Whether or not he actually can't or is just too stupid to do it is up to debate. And let's be real guys, both are well possible. Joking aside, like I just said, Chariot excels at combat, as with its extreme speed, Chariot can move much faster than a human eye can perceive, which in turn creates after images for the enemy. This feat however is limited to Chariot's revealed form, as while the armor is on, Chariot gets slowed down a lot. I don't know how a spirit can have weight, but let's just go with it. Thanks to its equally impressive extreme precision, Chariot got many impressive feats, from catching coins and embers mid-air, to cutting bullets and deflecting lasers, to even catching Hanged Man, a stand that can shoot out at the speed of light. Now, excuse me, but this is a rather controversial topic, so I won't dive too deep into that. My opinion is that this is simply a moment where Araki underestimated the speed of light, as Chariot would still need extreme speed and precision to hit Hanged Man on a specific predetermined path. So if Chariot can't move at the speed of light, then Polnareff can at least summon and precisely align Chariot incomprehensibly quickly. And let's also not forget that Whole Horse was able to dodge its slash attack with the bullet, something Afdol couldn't even see. The inconsistencies don't end here, however. Chariot was able to carry Polnareff in the fight against Afdol and slash apart walls and boards. But for some reason, Chariot cannot pull Polnareff even a little bit during the latter half of the Vanilla Ice fight? Listen, obviously it's implied that Polnareff was weakened and in turn Chariot was as well. But somehow Chariot was capable of throwing a potentially out of shape Polnareff who was in a wheelchair away in part 5? Guys, listen, it's completely fine. There's no big problem here. Just some silly nonsense I like to rant about from time to time. Now to get back to the proper discussion at hand, let's dive into detail for the armor ability. Like I already stated, Chariot wears armor that protects it from hits, both improving its defense and slowing it down. The armor can be broken and Polnareff will in turn only suffer slight damage. For example, getting slashes in the leg. Polnareff can be hurt still, but he won't suffer the same consequences most other stand users would. To a certain degree of course, because if the body below the armor gets obliterated, so does Polnareff's, like in the fight against Vanilla Ice. Now, when a speed boost is needed, Polnareff can lay off the armor, shown as the armor violently shooting off of Chariot, revealing its robotic body properly, and giving full access to the extreme speed. Also, while this is anime only, when the armor is destroyed, Chariot gets a speed boost for that specific body part, as shown in the Anubis arc. And lastly, Chariot can shoot out the blade of its weapon, which can ricochet off of surfaces. This is Chariot's only ranged option and a very risky one at that, as while it is very precise and strong, Chariot can only use it once at a time. To use it again, Polnareff has to get the blade back. If he doesn't, we don't know exactly what happens, but in the fight against Alessi, Chariot's sword also gets fixed later on, despite having been bent earlier, so it can be assumed that it will just grow back at some point, which is weird to think about. And with that, we are done with the abilities now. However, there's too much to cover for appearances or looks at potential fights. Instead, I will detail a fight or two in the light novel Genesis of Universe. That novel likes to give some neat feats to stands, which make absolutely no sense at times. So, during the first encounter against the Satanic Coupler, the Crusaders line up and face the enemy all at once. In this case, Silver Chariot is used to puncture the ground, the thrust causing a blinding glare. However, because Satanic Coupler is decently busted, none of the hits truly connect, due to it cushioning the attacks. Even later on, none of the blade's piercing or slashing strikes harm it in any form. Near the end, Silver Chariot is used by Polnareff to fan flames off of his body, by twirling his sword around. And then, he uses the sword to fend off the enemy's attacks. I can't be the only one who notices the similarities to what happens in the video games, right? Anyhow, Chariot has a bunch of more poking and slashing actions in the light novel, and honestly, you should really read Genesis of Universe. It's one of the best soft canon content out there. I mean, I hardly covered the second big part of the novel, and it contains Polnareff fighting off several monsters, including a goddamn Roman iron chariot, which totally wasn't just done for the wordplay. Nonetheless, this is everything I wanted to cover for Silver Chariot. However, I might add a tiny bit more trivia, aka I will read you what the JoJo article says. Yay! Jokes aside, in the fourth opening of the anime, Silver Chariot weirdly wields two swords. It's presumed that this is meant to be a nod to its possession by Anubis, even though the swords don't really match. And guys, when I watched this back then, I was hoping of a big upgrade or some secret technique, which sadly never came. Oh well. And like I mentioned in the Subplatinum video and in the appearance section, Silver Chariot's design was specifically done to be different from Subplatinum. A robot and a man, fists and a sword. That's all, not just for this topic, but also for this video in general. Thank you so much for watching, and thank all of you for waiting so long. So much happened in life, and so many things went against me. I thought I'd never get this out, but I did. And sadly not only that, but I will also stop this series temporarily. Don't worry, I won't stop forever, nor will I stop making videos. However, I will stop making these types of analysis for a good while. I'm thinking about versus videos, but I'll wait and see for now. I have a tension compilation video in the backlog, and after that I will see. And while I made this video, I was about to hit 1,000 subscribers, and I'm going off script now because it makes absolutely no sense anymore. I'm a bit past 1,000 now, which is insane. Back then it was barely 500. I'm so happy that people continue showing support. Every comment makes my day. If you somehow found this video and haven't subscribed it, then go ahead and do it if you like the video. All my commentary videos are like this, even if the ones from a year ago, like a lot of quality in the voice. Even now, it's still not the best, I'm sorry. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Bye bye!